Hey guys, it is September the 14th, 2024, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend so far. Today I'm going to do the part 2 of things that I've done for my liver health, and this is not just, to do with my liver health. It's to, things I've done for my health in general, but mainly focusing on my liver and my pancreas. Also, before we get started today, I want to talk about the live. And I talked about that yesterday and said I wasn't quite sure what time I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it on Sunday, so tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The last live that I did it for I said I was going to be there for an hour. I ended up doing an hour and a half. I'm just going to go ahead and say this time that we'll do an hour and a half, and then we'll just plan on doing 2 hours. I do want to get off by 6 o'clock tomorrow. Just got dinner and stuff like that to cook tomorrow night. But 2 hours should be a really good time for everybody to hop in. And if you can't make it, I understand. I mean, it's Sunday afternoon. People have family obligations and all. I mean, I completely understand. If you can't make it, no need to to worry about it. But it is a really good time. The last live that we did ended up being, I think, one of the largest lives that we've ever had. There were a lot of people in there. And the live videos for any of the new subscribers that are here, it's just basically like a live Q&A. We basically just have a conversation. If you've never been on one of my lives, I don't ever really go into it with a topic or anything. There's been a couple where I've had like one topic I wanted to talk about, but for the most part, I just hop on, people start talking to me in the comments. I read all the comments as you guys are typing them out. Unless it's something that's ridiculous, I'm not going to read it. But for the most part, 99.9% of all the comments, I read them. And as I'm going through, I'll answer whatever the questions are, whatever people say to me. I read off each and every single one. So, it is an opportunity for you guys to get a chance to talk to me in real time, to ask me questions. People start talking to each other in the live. It's just a good time. And there's a lot of people who are in there just chatting with each other, because it does give you guys an opportunity just to talk to each other in real time. But at the same time as well, people are asking me questions, and I don't skip anything. The last live that I did, I started getting really behind on it. Because there were so many comments in the live chat. If it turns out like that again, just hang tight. A lot of people were starting to get, thinking that I wasn't going to get to them. But I was just super behind. There were so many comments. And, if I get hung up on a comment and I'm trying to answer somebody's question, it just puts me back. So if you did ask me something, just give me a second, because I have to keep scrolling back to catch up. And when I got on the last live too, the chat room was already open, and there was already like 40 comments in there. So I was already behind by the time I'd even got started last week. So I'm going to hop on probably a couple minutes earlier this time, just to make sure that I don't end up like that again. And like I said, we'll go for 2 hours. And one last time, if you ask me something in the live tomorrow, just hang tight. If you don't think I'm going to get to you, I will. It's just because I'm behind. There's so many comments, but I will answer each and every single one of your questions. So, it's just a great time, and I'd love to see all of you guys there. Once again, if you can't make it, I completely get it. But back to things that I've done for my liver health, and for any of the new subscribers that are here, and we have a heck of a lot of new subscribers here on the channel. A lot of you guys, the ones that have been here since the beginning, you guys already know all about this. But for the new subscribers, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the videos, just go all the way down, and at the very, very bottom is the very first video that I did, and it's like Cirrhosis, My Story, or something like that. I don't remember the name of the title, but it's a picture of me. It's a picture of me. My face is the thumbnail for the video. And like I said, it's the very first one that I did. I did that video in March of last year, and I was extremely sick during that period of time. I was very, very, very skinny. I think I weighed like 120 pounds or 110 pounds, somewhere around there in that video. And that was when I felt comfortable enough to film myself. I looked way worse than that before that. And I had tried to film myself a couple of times over the months, and I was too embarrassed of how I looked. I couldn't post it. And when I felt comfortable enough, that was in March, I went ahead and filmed myself, and I said, okay, today's the day. I'm just going to go and post this up. And I posted that video, basically talking about what happened to me and how I ended up in the situation that I did. And then I completely forgot about that video. That video was posted in March, and then I completely forgot I had done it. I had just completely forgotten about YouTube. I forgot about all of it. Right in March, I had gotten sick in April and ended up back in the hospital again for 2 weeks with pancreatitis again. And it was like right after I did that video. We went to Disney World. So that March, I filmed that video. We went to Disney World on vacation because we were thinking this is going to be like our last family vacation. I hadn't had my second TIPS procedure at this point. And, they had told me I had a year left to live back in October of 2022. So, we were thinking this is going to be it. So we went on a family vacation together. As soon as we got back from our vacation, I ended up in the hospital with pancreatitis again, was sick for 2 weeks in the hospital. Got out, and they found out that I had a total blockage in my pancreatic duct during that period of time. So I started going in the hospital and having ERCPs done like every couple of weeks. So I was going and having surgeries, and then I was recovering, and then I had another surgery. And I think I had probably about 8 surgeries during that summer, and including a TIPS procedure on my liver. So I had that TIPS procedure in June. I was in the hospital again for another 2 weeks after that TIPS. So I was just in the hospital nonstop. I kept going in, getting out, and I just forgot. And then on Thanksgiving Day, my wife and I were watching TV, and we were watching YouTube, and my video popped up, and my wife said, "Isn't that the video that you did?" And it had like 27,000 views on it. And that's when I started doing the videos again. But my point is, if you go back to that very first video, you can look at that video and you can watch it and see the difference in how I looked then versus now. I look completely different. I basically looked like a set of ears, some eyeballs, which were super big because my face was so skinny and like sunk in. I had like these big ears, a nose, big eyes, and a mouth. I mean, that's what I looked like. My face was so thin. And one of the crazy things about it is that when I started losing all that weight, I've been wearing baseball caps my whole entire life. And I don't wear them because I'm like going bald or anything. I mean, I have a full head of hair. I just like wearing baseball caps. I worked in the kitchen my whole life, and it's just, something I've always worn, and it keeps the sweat out of my eyes, from dripping down my face. And I just like having a baseball cap because it blocks the sun from getting in my eyes. But one of the things that I did not realize is that when you start losing weight like that, you start losing weight in your head too. I didn't realize how much like fat there was stored around like your skull area. Because when I had a bunch of old baseball caps that I'd had before I lost all the weight, and went to put them on, and they didn't fit anymore. They were like way too big. We store fat back here, and I just did not realize that. And once I lost all that weight, none of my hats fit anymore, which is just crazy. But today, like I said, I want to talk about the things I've done for my liver health. And the first thing that I want to talk about is stopping smoking. A lot of us that are drinkers smoked or did smoke. And, it's something that I had to do. And when I was in the hospital the first time, I just quit smoking after that period of time. It was just it. They basically told me, you got to quit smoking and drinking. I just found out I had diabetes. I just knew I had a whole lot of health problems, and I was in the hospital for like almost 3 weeks that first time. And, after that long stretch, and I quit drinking, I just didn't look back. But I'm not saying that I'm any like superhero or anything. And like, I've got this like super strong mind that's able to quit all this kind of stuff. I just quit when, I didn't smoke while I was in the hospital, and I just didn't pick it back up again when I got out. Did I want to smoke? Absolutely. But I didn't. And, smoking it's bad for our liver too. There are like a bunch of harmful chemicals in cigarettes, and they get processed through our liver. Not only are cigarettes horrible for our liver, but they're horrible for our pancreas too. I think cigarettes is like the number one cause of pancreatitis right now, over alcohol. Cigarettes not only bad for your liver, bad for your pancreas, they're bad for our lungs, they're just bad for you in general. So stopping smoking, very important to do. Next thing that I did, and this is a big one, is salt intake. I was dealing with ascites, and the doctor told me, 1,000 milligrams of sodium or less per day. And man, I will tell you guys what, this is one of those things that I had no idea about. I never paid attention to sodium, ever. I never looked at sodium or carbs until I got sick. I never paid a bit of attention to it, and I'm telling you guys, never once. I never looked at the nutrition label on anything until I got sick. And like I said, the doctor told me 1,000 milligrams of sodium a day or less, and then I started looking at everything, and I was just blown away. Like a pickle, and this is something I used to eat all the time back then. I used to drink the pickle juice and all that stuff. One pickle has like 800 milligrams of sodium in it. I mean, it'll blow your sodium intake amount out with one pickle. So, it's one of those things. I stopped eating pickles. I stopped eating all foods for the most part, except for like fresh food, because everything's got so much salt in it. And one of the things that I think that's really cool about it is that after a certain amount of time, I know it's not fun at first when you start cutting the sodium out, because you're like, man, this food just does not taste right. But after a little bit of time, it did not take me long at all to get adjusted to the low sodium. I can't stand salt anymore. Do not like it. I do not put salt on my food. I despise salt now. If something's really salty, I'll take like one bite of it, and I'm like, no, I just can't do it. And even it's not even has to do with the ascites or any of that stuff, because I don't have ascites right now. I just can't eat salty food. My palate completely changed. I do not eat salt any longer. I don't like the way it tastes, and I've spoken to so many people that have been in my shoes too. Same thing. They got used to the low sodium, and they don't like salt anymore either. And I'm the one that cooks everything in my house. I cook everything. And everybody in my house, were adjusted to the way that I used to cook, and I used to add salt to my food. Broth bases and all that kind of stuff. And, when I first started cooking again, after I got well enough to be able to start cooking dinner again, or food for everybody again, my family all started getting upset because they were saying the food doesn't taste good. There's not enough salt in it. So everybody was putting salt on their food. But after time, now everybody in my home has gotten adjusted to that low sodium diet. And even my wife, she was just saying something to me the other day. She's like, I can't do the salt anymore. I think she had gotten lunch from somewhere, a local cafe or something, while she was at work, and she took like 2 or 3 bites out of it and had to stop eating it because it was so salty. She just couldn't handle it anymore. It's really easy to get adjusted to the low sodium, and like I said, I know it doesn't taste good at first, but give it a little bit of time, you will get adjusted to it. And the thing about it too is that you really start picking up on the flavors of everything when you're not putting salt on it. If you're eating broccoli or something, I eat a lot of broccoli. I eat broccoli almost every single day, and it's crazy. I love the taste of broccoli now, just by itself. I will put some black pepper on it, but that's it. I might squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over the top of my broccoli and put a little bit of butter on it or something like that, maybe, or a little drizzle of olive oil. But for the most part, I just steam my broccoli off, and I do add lemon juice to it a lot. I love lemon juice, and I'll put lemon juice over top of my proteins too. But I love the taste of broccoli with nothing on it anymore. Another thing, no junk food. I stopped eating junk food I don't touch junk food. I don't even remember the last time I had junk food. It's been a very, very long time. I don't even crave junk food at all. It's one of those things that when I was a drinker, I did eat junk food. And especially at nighttime when I would be drinking, you know, I would grab a bag of chips. I used to eat a lot of potato chips, tortilla chips, salted peanuts, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't eat that stuff at all anymore. At all. I don't, like I said, I can't remember the last time I ate junk food. Junk food is just horrible for you. Not only is it full of sodium, but it's full of hydrogenated oils, seed oils, all that kind of stuff. Junk food is horrible for your liver, especially fried foods, candy, those little Debbie cakes, all that kind of stuff. They've got hydrogenated oils in them and just all kinds of crap. If you look on the back of the box and just read the ingredients on them, it's just, the stuff in there is horrible. So staying away from junk food is like a huge one. Just don't eat it. You know, when you go to the grocery store, just stay off the chip aisles, the soda aisle. You don't need that stuff. It's, you know, the thing is, like sodas and chips and all this kind of stuff, I mean, if you eat a whole lot of that stuff, it can cause fatty liver. And then fatty liver, if you don't take care of it, can lead to cirrhosis. So, you know, once again, these are things that I've done that have improved my health. You know, do what you will. You know, if you want to take some of these things that I've done and apply them to your life, you know, go for it. But I'm not giving anybody medical advice. I am saying, though, junk food is not good for you. You know, and we definitely want to stay away from that stuff. And especially stuff like beef jerky. Unless you're making the beef jerky yourself, I wouldn't eat that stuff. For one, it's just got all kinds of preservatives and stuff in it. And then two, beef jerky is loaded with sodium. I mean, loaded with sodium. Start taking a look at the back of all your nutrition labels and look at it. Even soda has an exorbitant amount of sodium in it. So you just really have to be careful with what you're eating. I eat lots of fresh, organic vegetables and fruits. I can't say this enough. Organic is very important. They spray vegetables and fruits with tons of pesticides. That stuff is horrible for your liver. Horrible for your liver. I know organic vegetables are a little bit more expensive, but this is your health that we're talking about here. Now, there are some things like apples. You know, if you wash them and then peel them, a lot of times, like those hard stone fruits and stuff like that, don't absorb the pesticides into them. It's the things that the ones you really want to be careful about are like stuff like strawberries, blueberries, soft fruits like that. They absorb those pesticides right into them. I think strawberries are like one of the most highly sprayed fruits that are out there. You just want to be really careful about the produce that you're eating. And we also want to be eating a lot of produce. You know, produce is good for us. You know, we only eat a lot of fruit. I especially can't because I have diabetes. But I do eat fruit every day. I just eat very small portions of it. And I try to stick to low glycemic fruits. You know, stuff like apples, blueberries. If I do eat fruit, most of the time it's berries or apples. And apples are really, really good for you. They're loaded with fiber. And when you have something that's high in fiber like that, it takes longer for it to digest. So you don't get a spike in your blood sugar when you eat it. So once again, lots of fresh vegetables, organic and fresh fruits. Organic fruits as well. And another thing too is we want to be careful about how we're eating this stuff. Steaming our vegetables is a very good way of eating them. You don't want to be frying up your vegetables, especially in like vegetable oil. Don't cook with that stuff. Stay away from all oils. The only oil you really want to be cooking with is like avocado oil, olive oil, or like real butter. The rest of that stuff, just stay away from it. They've said now that seed oils and stuff are causing liver disease. So just stay away from that stuff. I'm telling you guys, don't eat it. This is one of the things I will give you advice on. Just don't eat seed oils. Just do your research. If any of you guys know like Dr. Berg or any of those guys, what's that other guy's name? I talk about him all the time, and I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't remember, but anyway, Andrew Huberman. They've talked about these seed oils and how dangerous they are, and how much damage they cause to our bodies. Just stay away from that stuff, especially if you see hydrogenated on it. They've added hydrogen to a hydrogen molecule to it. It completely changes the way that oil works, the way that you digest it. It's hard. It's trans fats, horrible for you. Here's another thing too, and I was talking about this the other day, and I know my list is kind of all over the place, but it's just the way I've got it right now. I just didn't have a lot of time to sit down and get this all organized, but the next thing I'm going to say is that, like I was talking about the other day with advocating for yourself at the doctor, if you feel like when you go to the doctor and you're just not satisfied with the answer that you got from the doctor, go get a second opinion. And if you're not happy with the second opinion, get a third, get a fourth, get a fifth opinion on what's going on with you until you are satisfied with the answer. Now, if you have 5 different doctors telling you all the same thing, there's probably some validity to what they're talking about. But I'm just going to use my youngest son, for instance. I talked about this. His eye swelled up, completely closed up. So my wife took him to the urgent care. Urgent care said that it's cellulitis. He needs to go directly to the hospital. Take him to Children's Hospital right now. So my wife took him to Children's Hospital. I met her over there. The doctors at Children's Hospital said it's not cellulitis, that it's actually viral conjunctivitis. We're not going to give him anything for it. Go home. It should be cleared up within 48 to 72 hours. Well, 48 to 72 hours went by. Nothing was cleared up. So we went back to our pediatrician. Pediatrician said, I agree with the people at Children's Hospital. Those doctors, because we saw 3 different doctors at Children's Hospital. All three doctors said the same thing. Then my pediatrician said, I agree with them. I think it's viral conjunctivitis. We're not going to give him any eye drops or anything, but we will go ahead. Oh, he didn't. He said it's fine. But if it doesn't clear up within like 48 hours, come back. Well, it didn't clear up, so we went back again. And then he said, we're going to go ahead and start. And not only did we see the one pediatrician, but we saw 3 pediatricians at the pediatrician office over here. So at this point, we've seen like 7 different doctors. And, a couple of them didn't agree. They thought it was something else. And then my pediatrician, said this. So they went ahead and gave him antibiotics. They said that'll clear it up. And if there's any bacterial infection, that's going to clean that up. Well, we, gave him the antibiotics. Still was having problems. And just yesterday, my wife took him to the eye doctor. The eye doctor said that there is obviously some bacterial infection that's going on. He can see spots in the eye. So they went ahead and gave him, because he's still on antibiotics, they gave him steroid eye drops. So the thing is, we've gone to all these different doctors, and finally the eye doctor says, I'm going to give you guys steroid eye drops. We're hoping that this is going to work. We don't know. But, we didn't just settle with the first doctor's opinion. We went to multiple different doctors. Do the same thing for yourself. If you have one doctor that tells you something and you don't think it's right, go to another doctor. And another thing, too, while I'm on this topic, speaking about doctors are human beings just like anybody else, and they're not always right. The doctors told me, the hospitalist told me, which the doctor told me at the hospital in October of 2022, right after I was getting out, that you have 1 year left to live, maybe. And I don't even think that you're going to make it that far. Told me I had cirrhosis, all this stuff, and that's it. You're not going to live very long. Well, that doctor was wrong. And I'm still here. And they told me I wouldn't be alive for the holiday season of 2022. And here we are, 2023. Here we are, 2024. And it's almost been a year later. I'm still here. They weren't right. Now, I could go any day, but the fact of the matter is that it's been almost a year. And they told me I wasn't going to be here. So just because a doctor says something doesn't mean that that's going to happen. So, if a doctor tells you, that you've got X amount of time left to live or whatever, just keep living your life and keep going about your business. And you got to have faith. You got to believe that you're going to continue to live. It's all about mind over matter. If I had given up, and there was a point where I was this close to giving up, guys, I promise you. If I had given up, I don't think I'd be here still. You know, I've talked about this so many times. I watched Jennifer Schaefer's video. She was out walking around, had just gotten off of hospice, and I said, if she can do it, so can I. And I got up and started moving around. And I'm still here. And I really do believe that it was the mind. It was my mind over matter. The fact that I believed I was going to get better. I kept telling myself every day, I'm not going out like this. I'm going to get better. I want to be here for my children. I want to be here for my family. I'm not going out like this. I just kept telling myself that every single day. And once again, I'm nobody special. I'm just a normal guy. I just didn't want to give up. That's it. I was just very determined to continue to live, and I kept pushing, and I didn't give in. You gotta keep your head strong and just hang in there. If things don't work out, then so be it. It is what it is. But what's the harm in continuing to try and to have hope? I think hope is one of the most important things that we can do when we get a diagnosis or we end up in the hospital and we just got sick. Keep the hope. You have to be hopeful. You have to hang on for dear life because it's about your life. Hang in there. If the doctors tell you you've got 3 months to live, then just keep going. Keep pushing forward and tell yourself, I'm going to get better. It might work. It might happen. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I think, what did you lose? You didn't lose anything. It might be a little bit disappointing, but you already heard the news anyway. So what's it going to change? Stay strong, keep your mind strong, and go into it with the hope and with the thought that you are going to make it through it. I think that's one of the most important things that we can do is have hope. So we talked about that. I talked about this the other day, but I think this is another one of the most important things, getting outside and getting sunlight, getting that vitamin D, getting out in the sun, getting out into nature. Getting out into nature is one of the most calming. There are so many words I could say about going into nature. It gives you a chance to self-reflect. You get to see the beauty of nature. One of the things that I've learned from being outside and being out in nature is that nothing lasts forever. But there's so much beauty in nature and just normal things, everyday things. I mean, just this little piece of pine straw right here is beautiful. Nature made this, and this could be turned into a basket or whatever. Or there's just so many beautiful things in nature that are natural. And I just believe that getting outside, getting in nature, and I understand if you're really sick, you can't spend a whole lot of time outside, but I just think it's great for our mind to get out again and remember the beauty in this world. Making connections with people. I ran off a whole lot of people in my life, family, friends. Towards the end of my alcoholism, I was basically alone. I had my wife and my children, and they weren't happy with me either. They were just about over me too. I think just about everybody was done with me. But I really started one of the things that happened when I got sick is I got humbled big time because I used to be, not such a nice person. But I got really humbled when I got sick. Very humbled. Getting sick has been an experience for me that's taught me a lot about myself. It's taught me a lot about life, how to talk to people. It's taught me that I'm not better than anybody because I'm not. That I'm not invincible and that I am going to lose my life one day. We're all headed in that direction. At some point, we're all going to leave this planet. And I think I had this idea in my head that I was invincible and I was never going to die, but that's not the case. And after I got sick, I got humbled and, I started trying my best to make new connections with people. And I started reaching out to people that I was friends with back in the day. And a lot of them kind of gave me the cold shoulder. But I made new friends. I've made friends with all the people on here on this channel. And I think of every single one of you as a friend of mine. Y'all are basically like family to me, and I'm not kidding. But just making connections with people. We we are a social species. And if we aren't making connections and having conversations with other people and having friends, it makes us mentally sick. And then when we're mentally sick, we get physically sick. Our mind plays such a huge role in our health. I mean, just look at the placebo effect. That's science, guys. That's not like made up stuff. I mean, the placebo effect is real. People take a pill thinking that it's really going to work, and all of a sudden they start getting better. I mean, it just shows the power of the mind. Back to what I was talking about just a couple minutes ago about having hope and believing that we're going to get better. If we believe that, it's like we can think things into reality. And I'm not saying it's going to happen every single time, but once again, what does it hurt to try? You want to live, you want to be here, so think that you will. And here's one that's going to be kind of controversial, but I'm just going to say it anyway. And I'm not telling anybody to lean either way or do whatever you want to do. This is totally up to you. And once again, I don't ever talk about myself or anything like that. I'll say God bless or whatever on here, but I don't talk about my spirituality. But finding what our spirituality is, connecting with our spirituality, whatever that is, and whatever that means for you. But I just think it's important. And if it's nothing, then that's okay. But maybe just connecting with yourself on a more spiritual level. But I just think that finding ourselves spiritually is very important on this journey. I really believe so. And it can be whatever it is. You could consider yourself to be, God or whatever it may be. But and it doesn't have to necessarily be about God, just being, or religion, just spirituality, and finding that in yourself. And I know a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about today is a lot to do with mental, in our mental health, but mental health is a huge part of this. There was a time when I was in a very, very, very dark place, and like I said, I was this close to giving up. I thought about walking out into the woods every single day and taking my life. I was tired of being a burden to my family. I was tired of feeling the way that I did. I was tired of laying in the bed. I was tired of being in so much pain. I was upset with myself. I felt so much guilt and so much shame. I was just done. And I was tired of my kids having to walk into the bedroom in the morning and when they got home from school. And they weren't getting, they would leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, go to school, and then come home at 6, 7 o'clock at night after my wife would pick them up from my mother-in-law. They'd walk in the door, and guess where I was at? Still in the bed. That must have been so hard on them to see their dad in the bed when they left to go to school and then come home and I'm still in the bed. And this went on for months. And, I don't know. Next thing, staying calm and not getting angry. I've been a very angry person my whole entire life. And this has been one of the biggest things that I've had to work on is staying calm. Don't let the little things get under your skin because they're not important. One of the biggest things that I realized when I laid in the hospital bed, and I promise you guys, when they told me that I was about to lose my life, because there's been a couple times to go in the hospital and they told me you might not make it, like right now. And I was laying there so sick. And I realized that none of the material possessions that I had meant anything to me at all. I didn't care about them anymore. I told myself as I laid there, I'll give all that stuff up if I could just have my health back. And I don't know, I just had to realize that none of that stuff meant anything to me. And I used to get really angry when my kids would come inside and track mud across the floor or spill soda all over the table or they broke something or messed something up in the house. None of that stuff means anything. It really doesn't. Don't let those little things get underneath your skin. If you have a flat tire, no big deal. Stuff like that's just going to happen. Don't let it get you so angry that next thing you know, your blood pressure's rising. You're getting angry and saying mean things to people. Because when we start getting angry like that, it raises up our heartbeat, our blood pressure it rises up. All kinds of things start to happen with that, and then it can ruin the rest of your day. And people don't want to be around you when you're like that. And, then it goes back to us making connections with people, because people are afraid to be around us because we're angry all the time. Try your best to stay calm, and you're going to be able to make more connections with people too if you can do so. Positive mindset. Another one of these things I think is very, very important. Positive mindset. Just staying positive all the time. I try my best to stay as positive as I can. And I'm going to tell you guys, I know I seem really positive all the time on here, and I'm always, pretty happy-go-lucky. But it's hard for me to stay positive sometimes. I have to force myself to do so sometimes. And I just think it's one of the most important things that we can do as well, is just staying positive. Looking for things to be grateful for in our lives. And I know you guys hear this all the time from people, being grateful, writing down a list of things to be grateful for. But it's so true, because we have so many things in our life to be grateful for. Just being alive today is something to be grateful for. Being grateful for the fact if the sun came out that day. Right now it's overcast here today. Being grateful for having breakfast this morning, being able to brush your teeth, having running water in your house, whatever it is. These are the little things that can help us, when we find things to be grateful for, to keep a positive mindset. Don't let negative people bring us down. Then it all revolves back to, again, making connections with people. We're going to attract more people towards us when we're humble, positive, and we're not getting upset and freaking out all the time on people. Another one here, you got to stop drinking. And I don't think I talked about this in the last one, but, you got to stop drinking alcohol. Alcohol is horrible for your liver. It's horrible for every single cell in our body. I was just watching something this morning, and it was a little YouTube video, and this doctor was talking about, the effects of alcohol in the body, and he said alcohol affects every single cell in your body. He was saying that you could take any cell from the body and put it into alcohol, and it will die. Any cell. Alcohol kills every cell in our body. He said, but if you take any cell of our body and you put it into salt water, it'll live for a day or two. It's a disinfectant. It destroys everything it touches. I mean, seriously. And every time we drink, and he was also talking about how there's certain people out there who have a hard time processing alcohol, and it'll make 2-3 passes through the liver, and every time it goes through your liver, it's destroying cells each and every single time. So these certain individuals who have a hard time processing alcohol, how you find out if you're one of those people, I don't know. But he was saying that those people, when the alcohol passes through their liver 2-3 times, each time it passes through, it's doing even more destruction in the liver. Exercise, and I talked about this the last time, but I'm going to talk about it again. Whatever you can get in, you have to exercise. I'm not saying lift weight. I don't lift weights at all. And I used to be a weightlifter. I can't do it anymore. I've got 2 hernias on my stomach. I can't lift anything heavy. I'm not supposed to lift anything heavier than a jug of milk. But I do try to go walk. And I just walk around my property. I don't go anywhere far and walk by myself because I'm too afraid to do so. I've talked about this, but I get hypoglycemia a lot, and I get really confused when it happens, and I'm afraid to be anywhere, especially when I start doing physical activity. My blood sugar really starts to plummet, so I have to be very careful. But you don't have to go anywhere far. I mean, you could just walk around your house, but just do something physical. Go out in your front yard and walk around in circles. Pick up pine cones. Pick up sticks out of your yard, whatever it is, whatever you can fit in. Even if it's just cleaning your house, that's physical activity. Just get up out of the bed, get up off of your couch and do something. You don't have to go outside necessarily. Get up and clean that closet that you've been talking about you're going to organize for the past 5 years. Find something to do and do it. Not only is it going to give you, you're going to get your blood pumping. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. Back to the whole mental health thing again. You're going to be getting things accomplished. Back to the mental health thing again. It's going to make you happy. You're going to get a dopamine rush by doing it. And you're getting things done. And then you're getting physical activity in. It's going to make you better. It's going to help get that water off if you have ascites. Walking is one of the most important things that you can do. It really is. I've spoken to my doctor so many times, and he used to tell me all the time, dude, you got to get up and go for a walk. You have to. And he'll tell me, I know it hurts, I know it's uncomfortable, and I know you don't want to do it, but you got to go for a walk. And when my doctor told me that, I got up and started going for walks, and I started getting better. I started losing the fluid on my stomach. Coffee, again, black coffee, very important. Epsom salt baths. When you're dealing with ascites and all that stuff, there's a lot of pain that comes along with that. A lot of pain in your lower back, a lot of pain in your abdomen because pushing on your abdomen muscles. Epsom salt baths, not only do they help ease the pain, but you're going to absorb that magnesium. It's going to help calm you down a little bit. They're great for you. Herbal teas, I drink those all the time. I drink a lot of mint tea, and I have mint plants on my property here. Mint is one of the easiest herbs that you can grow. It really is. Go to your local hardware store. A lot of times they sell them in the grocery store. If you just go to the grocery store, I'll just tell you guys a quick little tip. Go to your grocery store, buy a little pack of the fresh mint. If you go to your produce area, they'll have, if you can't find mint anywhere, you could buy seed, but here's an easy way to do it. Go to your grocery store, they have the little packs of like the fresh mint, and it'll be like in a little clear plastic case. Take that out, take a pair of scissors, cut it diagonally on the stem, pull all the leaves off except for like the 2 top leaves. Put it into water in a cup and put it in a windowsill and leave it there 2 weeks. When the water starts to evaporate, go back and fill it back up with water. After about a week or so, you're going to see roots to start to develop on the bottom of it. After about 2 weeks, the glass is going to be full of roots. Mint is super easy to grow. After you have propagated that mint, take it and place it into a pot of soil. Boom. You've got a mint plant now. If you plant it in your yard, it will take over your yard. It grows like a weed. Like, seriously, it's one of those plants that you're not supposed to plant in your yard because it won't stop growing. I plant it in my yard. I don't mind because I use so much mint. And there's tons of different kinds of mints. There's so many different kinds of spearmint and all kinds of stuff. I love spearmint. It's probably my favorite of all the mints. But get yourself some mint, a little bit of lemon juice, honey, hot water, boom. You've got a fresh, organic mint tea. It helps soothe the stomach. I get stomach aches all the time. I'm telling you guys, it works wonders on the stomach. And it's just good for you. Don't eat before going to bed, like right before going to bed, because it's going to cause acid indigestion. It just causes a lot of problems. It might keep you up later. And like I was saying the other day, trying to go to bed at a decent time and sleeping, if you eat a big meal and then lay down, the acid's going to start coming up your esophagus. It's going to start to burn your esophagus. And if you have liver disease like I do, most likely you have varices. It's not good to have acid indigestion when you have varices too, because they're going to be up in your esophagus. And if you've got all that stomach acid in there, it can actually work towards rupturing those varices. Just don't eat too late. Give it about 2 hours before you go to bed and then lay down. But if you eat a big meal and then lay right down, it just causes a lot of problems. Drinking lots of water. And, one of the things too is you want to stay under 2 liters of water a day if you have liver disease, because you don't want to collect extra fluid, but you want to be drinking water. Don't drink soda. Soda is horrible for you. I talk about the carbonated soda water. That stuff's fine to drink. It's not something you want to drink all day, every day, but the carbonated soda waters are great for you. It is water. And like I said, it gives you that little tingle in the back of the throat, like you're drinking a beer or something. But you need to drink water. Water is what we need. And we need to drink as much of it as we can within staying in those limits. And water helps flush out our kidneys. It helps. We're made out of water. We just need water. I don't have to sit here and talk about all the things that water is good for. I'm sure you guys probably know. And if you don't, just check out a video about the benefits of drinking water. But we need to be drinking water. Have an emergency bag ready. This is one of those things that I made a video about. And this doesn't have anything to do with liver health, but it kind of does. If you just got a diagnosis, let's say you just found out you have cirrhosis or fatty liver or pancreatitis or whatever it is, anybody should have one of these for whatever reason. I made a video a couple months back, hospital emergency bag, I think is the name of it or something. Get yourself an emergency hospital bag. Take an old backpack that you got laying around, put a change of clothes in it, toothbrush, toothpaste. Everybody's got a little extra toothbrush that you got from the dentist or something. Throw some toothpaste, some deodorant. Take that old stick of deodorant that's got this much left in it that you don't want to throw away, but you've been using just take all that stuff and put it in a Ziploc bag. Keep it in your closet, ready to go. Put stuff in there. Put a book in there. Put things that you might put a couple snacks in there. Put a couple bottles of water inside that bag. They're not going to go bad. Put some stuff in there that you like. Think about what you would like to have if you were stuck sitting in a hospital for a day. Just get all these things together. I made a video about it with a bunch of great ideas. But have one of those ready, because if you're dealing with any of this kind of stuff, you never know when something's going to happen and you've got to leave and go to the hospital on an emergency. You never know when you might have a varices burst, and next thing you know, you start throwing up blood and you're at the hospital. And the last thing you want to be doing is trying to get a bunch of stuff together as you're puking up blood. You're going to be so afraid, you're going straight to the hospital. Have that bag ready, so all you got to do is just grab it and go. Because one of the things that you want to make sure that you have is those little conveniences, those little things that just make you feel better when you're in the hospital. Just have an emergency bag ready. I can't tell you how many times I've had to leave in an emergency and I didn't have a bag. I do now, but I'm telling you, just make sure you have one. Sugar, you got to cut it out of your life, especially if you're dealing with fatty liver or liver disease or any of those things. Sugar's horrible for you. It's poison. And we don't need to be eating it. Especially in soda. Like I said, I never paid attention to carbohydrates until I found out I had diabetes. And then I started looking at all the labels. A Coca-Cola has like 69 grams of carbs. That is humongous. That is like more carbs I'm supposed to have in a whole entire day in one can of Coca-Cola. And there's people out there that drink a 12-pack of Coca-Colas every single day, or Mountain Dew, or whatever it is. And then they eat a Baby Ruth bar and a bag of Skittles and a bag of potato chips and a sausage biscuit from McDonald's for breakfast and a hash brown, and they come home and need a pint of ice cream and all this kind of stuff. If you're trying to quit drinking and you're using like ice cream and stuff like that as a way to give yourself a little bit of a little bit of a high five and a pat on the back, and you just made it a whole day without drinking alcohol and you're on day 3 and you want to destroy a pint of ice cream, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to be eating a pint of ice cream every single day. You don't want to be eating candy every single day. You don't want to be drinking Coca-Cola or drinking soda every single day. These are things that we have every once in a while. It's okay to have a piece of cake once a week. It's okay to have a bowl of ice cream once a week. But it's not something that you want to be doing all the time. We really want to stay away from sugar. Not only is it bad for our liver, because our liver will start to store that extra fat in the liver. And as that liver deposits start to build up in the liver will start to stiffen, and it'll start to develop scar tissue. And then it goes from fatty liver to cirrhosis or fibrosis. And I don't remember what the exact number is, but I think it's something like 60% of Americans have fatty liver disease and don't know it. The thing about fatty liver disease is it's reversible. It can be reversed, but fatty liver can progress into cirrhosis. you don't even have to even drink alcohol to develop cirrhosis. You could have fatty liver from eating too much sugar, and that could develop into cirrhosis. So not everybody that's a drinker has cirrhosis. There's people out there who never had a drink of alcohol in their life and have fibrosis, cirrhosis now. So, once again, and sugar is a lot of times the culprit for it. I know it tastes good, but the old saying, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. But, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the liver. You just don't want to do it. It's horrible for your pancreas. There's so many people walking around right now with pre-diabetes, and they don't even know it. I had diabetes for years and just didn't realize what I had going on. You do not want to end up with diabetes. Not to mention, you don't want to have pancreas problems. Pancreatic issues are horrible. They are not fun to deal with. And if you think that restricting your diet now is not any fun, well, wait till you end up with chronic pancreatitis or, whatever pancreatic problems. Because then you're seriously having to watch every single thing that you eat. And if you eat the wrong thing, you're going to have a stomach ache for 3 days. I'm just telling you guys, you do not want to end up with it. So just stay away from the sugar. And like I said, you can have it every once in a while. I'm not saying that at all. A cupcake here and there is okay to have. Everybody likes to have them. I'm going to tell you guys right now, when I go to the grocery store, the first place I go is to the little bakery area, and I drool over the cupcakes and the cakes. Red velvet cake and carrot cake are two of my favorite things in this entire world. And I never liked sweets before I quit drinking. Every birthday I ever had, I never ate my birthday cake. Never. I would say, nope, don't want any. Now, it's all I think. I have dreams about cakes and cupcakes and chocolate and all. I'm not kidding. I love that stuff. I dream about it. I walk past that stuff and drool. Donuts, oh my gosh. Yeast donuts, cake donuts, you name it. I had to go to the grocery store today because I had to try to pick up my son's eye drops. And me and my son were walking. We went to the bakery area because I wanted to walk over there and just look. And they had these peanut butter brioche donuts that were this big, and the top of it was covered in peanut butter icing. And then they had a huge, what are those little cookies called? It's a little peanut butter cookies. They're the shape of a peanut, and they had one of those shoved into the top of a donut. Oh my gosh. Nutter Buddies or something like that. I picked that thing up and just looked at it for 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. And my son was like, Dad, you can't get that. And I was like, I just want to get it and let you eat it. And I want you to tell me how good it is. Because it looks that good. But I didn't get it. And I don't eat that stuff. I'm not saying I'm a superhero. I'm just saying I just don't eat it. Another thing, no Tylenol, no NSAIDs, no over-the-counter medications. You can't have it. Tylenol is horrible for our liver. NSAIDs, horrible. Another thing too, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen and stuff like that, are notorious for causing stomach bleeding. If you're dealing with liver disease or any stuff, you probably have varices in your esophagus and your stomach. You do not want to end up with stomach bleeding. Ibuprofen causes that. If you're taking ibuprofen, you end up with a stomach bleed. Somebody like me, if I ended up with, if my doctor's already told me, and I'm just going to be completely frank with you guys and tell you guys that my doctor told me, I was talking with him one day, I asked him, how much longer do you think I have left to live? And he said, I have no idea. I really don't. He said, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's going to be the liver disease that's going to take you out. And I was kind of like, what? And he said, it's going to be the therapeutics most likely that are going to take your life. He said, it's going to be the blood thinners probably. And I have to take them to live. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the blood thinners. But what he said is that one day I'm probably going to end up with the varices that's going to burst and they're not going to be able to stop the bleed. I'm going to bleed so much so quickly that that's probably going to be it. Or if I cut myself really bad. Because anytime that I do anything, I bleed like crazy. Just yesterday I pricked my finger just a little bit on a steel, It was on a tire. I touched a tire and it's got the little steel riveting inside of there or whatever. I touched the tire and it pricked my finger and blood. I could not stop the bleeding. He said that's probably what's going to end up taking me out. But back to over-the-counter medications. Do not take any of that stuff unless your doctor specifically says to do so. They're horrible for your liver. Anything. Don't take Robitussin, Benadryl, any of that stuff without speaking to your doctor first. And I wouldn't touch that stuff either way. Just most of it's bad for you. And especially Tylenol, ibuprofen, aspirin, any of that. Just don't take it. If you have a headache, lay down for a few minutes. Put a cold press on your head. Lay under a fan. There are tons of videos on YouTube of people talking about how to get rid of headaches. Massage your neck, whatever. Just don't take any of that stuff. Another thing too is most insurance companies have it's kind of like a nurse manager, and I can't remember what the exact term, what they call them is. If anybody in the comments could let me know what that's called, I know somebody knows what they are, but it's a nurse that helps you, and they're with your insurance company. But man, they help out so much. Mine calls me once a week. Every week she calls, and she's helped me find doctors that are inside of my insurance. She's helped me find doctors. She's helped me do all kinds of stuff. If somebody could let me know what they are called in the comments, that'd be great to let other people know what they are, because I just could not remember. I just wrote it down. It's like a nurse manager or something like that, but it's an actual RN, but they work for the insurance company and they help you. They call you once a week. They go over all your medications with you. They ask you if you've gotten any new allergies, all this kind of stuff. It was like a year and a half ago when they asked if I wanted one, and I didn't know, and I said yes. And I gotta say, sometimes it could be aggravating, because she calls me and I'm in the middle of doing something, and the phone call is like half an hour long, and every single time that we talk, it's the same thing. Are you still taking your Eliquis twice a day? Yes. And I'm like, my medications haven't changed at all. And she's like, I still have to ask you this stuff. And she called me yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I was busy. And I wanted to tell her, what is the point in this? Like, I'm busy right now. I've told you my medications, like, for the 1,000th time. Well, but I didn't get rude with her. I was just really busy. I was kind of annoyed because I just wanted to get off the phone. But the ladies helped me out tremendously. And I can't suggest one of those people more to you, because they can really help. They can help guide you along, because this stuff can be very complicated sometimes, especially when you're trying to get like pre-approvals for things. You're trying to get referrals and all this kind of stuff, different medications, or just something like getting an insulin pump. It took me like 2 months to get that all worked out, and I needed her help to figure all this stuff out. She helped me out tremendously. Find out, somebody let me know in the comments so that everybody can know about that, but I would definitely suggest getting one of those people. All right, what else? Another one too is, don't give up. I know that this can be frustrating, and I know it can be very depressing, and I know that, when you get a diagnosis, for instance, it can seem like that's the end of the world. I know. I get it. I've been there. But at the end of the day, just don't give up. You got to keep pushing forward, no matter what. If they come in, they give you a 3-month diagnosis, a 2-month diagnosis, whatever it is, just don't give up on life. Keep going. Keep living your life. You never know what might happen with you. I didn't think I was going to be here. I swear to you guys, I never thought that I would be where I'm at right now. I didn't. I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life laying in my bed with ascites. I really did. I swear. I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. I really did. And that's not where I'm at right now. And the only thing I have to attribute to it is that I tried really hard. I tried to be as healthy as I possibly could. I stopped drinking, stopped smoking, And I just kept pushing forward. And I knew that my clock was ticking. I knew I was getting closer and closer to that year date. I'm pushing closer and closer to it, but I just kept living my life. I kept spending time with family. I tried to do as much stuff with them that was, that I could, because I was very ill during that period of time too. But there were days that I remember one day we went to like a pumpkin farm. I was so sick that day, but I went and I pushed myself and I had a good day with my family. I was extremely tired when I got home that day, but I just wanted to spend the day with them. And I went and did it. And I'm so glad I did, because I have those memories for the rest of my life, and so do my children. But you just got to keep hanging in there and keep pushing forward. Just because the doctors tell you that you're going to be gone in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever it is, doesn't mean that's necessarily going to happen. So just hang in there and keep pushing forward. Another thing too is, I just talked about this the other day, but I want to reiterate this one more time. We're at an hour. If you guys have hung out this long, kudos to you, and thank you so much, because I didn't realize I had gone this long. But one last thing real quick, and then I'm going to get off of here. And I still have a couple more things I want to talk about, but I'm just going to stop it at this. But don't reschedule your doctor's appointments unless you necessarily really, really have to. Because and another thing too is that if you have an opportunity, like let's say they tell you, we can fit you in 2 weeks to have this surgery. It might be inconvenient for you. Take it. Because I needed to have that TIPS procedure done. And they knew that I had blood clots in my portal vein. And the doctor was like, I think that this is not going to be a problem. We'll get you in before the end of the year, and we're going to go ahead and take care of these blood clots. Well, there was some problems working out the dates, and I just could not get in there. So when they finally got me in, it was like, because I think they figured out I had the blood clots and everything like in November or something of 2022. And then the doctor said, we want to go ahead, and he told me about the TIPS procedure, what it does. They wanted to do it and all that good stuff. And I said, okay. And he said, we have to do the surgery. We're going to go through your neck and all that stuff. It's going to be interventional radiology. And I'm like, okay. And he said, we want to get you in before the end of the year. And I said, great. And then I don't remember what happened, but I couldn't get in before the end of the year. So then it wasn't until January 21st of 2023 when I got in there. So it was like 3 or 4 months later after they had found out about the blood clots. When I finally went in there to have that surgery done, the blood clot had gotten so hard they couldn't break through it. So I went through like a 12-hour long surgery and they couldn't get through the blood clot. It was a failure. And after the surgery happened, the doctor told me straight up, he said, if you had gotten in here sooner, we probably could have broken through that blood clot. But since it took so long for you to get in, now it's gotten so hard we can't get through it. Now these capillaries have grown all the way around it. And there's nothing else that we can do. And the doctor told me, he said, when the capillaries get clogged, he said, and it's going to happen at some point. Those capillaries, there's going to be a blood clot that runs through those capillaries. And when those run through and those get clogged, it's it. He said, that's going to be it for you. And my point of telling you this is that if somebody says, we need to get you in for this procedure or whatever, and it might be inconvenient for you, and it might be like next week, take it. Go do it immediately. Get it over and done with, because that might be the procedure that saves your life. And I did not think I was going to be here. I thought that was it because they couldn't get through. And then the doctor called me back that May and said, I want to try again. And when I went back, he was able to do it. And it worked out that time. So, and this is after, and once again, I just hung in there, just kept thinking everything's going to work out. And it did. And it wasn't supposed to. But anyway, guys, I know I talked a lot about like mental health today and a lot of mental things and stuff like that, but it plays such a huge role in this. It really does. Staying positive, thinking that we're going to be okay, even if we're not, keeping a positive mindset, hanging in there, pushing forward, all these things is so important. Because when we get sick, we get that kind of diagnosis and stuff like that, man, depression really starts to set in. And I was in a very depressed state for a very long time. And my mental health went into the gutter. It really did. And it took a long time for me to get myself out of that, but here I am now. And I'm so happy to be here. I couldn't be happier right now. You know, I've got a lot of health challenges in front of me, but it's totally okay. You know, I got a second chance at this life, and I've got an opportunity to live sober, and an opportunity to live sober and give my children that opportunity to see their father sober. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced in my life. Last night, I went out here and camped with my kids in the woods and my son's friend. And I was just laying there thinking to myself last night, none of this would have ever been possible if I hadn't quit drinking. It just wouldn't. And, you know, taking my son to his thing last night and all that stuff and spending time with my children, I'm actually proud of being their father right now, because back in those days, I wasn't. I was ashamed. I really was. I was ashamed of being their dad because I was a drunk. And I know my kids were embarrassed by me. They're embarrassed of my actions. I always reeked of alcohol and cigarettes anywhere I went. And my kids watched me drink everywhere I went. If we went on a trip somewhere, I was drinking beer in the car with my kids in the back. You know, I wasn't driving. I wasn't sitting in the passenger seat, but I was drinking in the car. I drank everywhere I went. My kids watched me all the time. That's all I did was drink. I mean, I did it so often that it was normalized to them. And that shouldn't have been the case. They should not have grown up seeing that. And I'll never be able to take any of that back. Those are memories they're going to have for the rest of their life. And that's why I'm here talking about this every single day. Because I'm hoping and praying that by me making these videos, that I might be able to say something. You might pick up on something on one of these videos that might make you go, I don't want to live the way that he lived. I don't want my kids to grow up seeing that kind of stuff. I don't want my kids to have to walk into the hospital room and see their dad laying there about to die at 42 years old, and they're young. You know, our children look up to us, you know. I didn't give them much to look up towards back then. I really didn't. I was really ashamed of who I was, but not anymore. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be the father that I am for my children, and I'm glad that I've got this second opportunity. Have I been a great dad for a long time? No, I haven't. Have I been a pretty good dad now for the past couple of years? Yeah, I think I have. And, you know, even though it's been a short amount of time, at least I got this opportunity to do so. And I've got the opportunity to show my kids, you know, what being a father is all about. Because, you know, one day they're going to be dads. And I can't figure out if I've got something on my face here or what. But I want to raise my kids and let them know what being a dad is, so that when they go to raise their children, they don't do the same thing that I did. I don't want my kids getting drunk every single day and raising their children like that. I want to lead by example, and I want to be a good father to them, and I want to be a good husband to my wife, and I just want to be a good person in general, and I want to be a good friend to my friends. I don't want to be that same guy anymore. I just don't. And it's been great to have this second opportunity at life. But anyway, guys, we're at 1 hour and 7 minutes, and I have just been rambling on as usual. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. Oh, one more thing I forgot to talk about. Lemon juice. Drinking a glass of water with lemon juice in it in the morning. Some people drink them cold. I like to drink it hot. I will make myself a glass of water with lemon juice and apple cider vinegar in it, and I'll drink that in the morning. And one more thing that I forgot to talk about as well, and I'll put a whole lemon in my water. So I just heat up a glass of water, and before I do anything else in the morning, that's one of the first things I'll do is drink that glass of water with lemon juice, a whole lemon juiced, and like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach. And a little bit of sea salt in there. Another thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is either getting Himalayan pink salt. It really depends on where you're getting it from, because they're saying now that a lot of that stuff's being faked and it's actually got a bunch of heavy metals and stuff in it. So they're saying that, and even sea salt too. Celtic salt, from what I understand, is one of the best salts that you can get. But you want to get some of that Celtic salt because you need those minerals that are in there. Get yourself some like Celtic salt or Himalayan salt if it's a good source, or sea salt if you know it's a good source too. And every single morning I take myself hot water, lemon juice, tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and that sea salt, Celtic salt, or Himalayan salt. Stir that in there. I drink that on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. The lemon juice helps to cleanse the liver. Same with the apple cider vinegar. It helps regulate your blood sugar as well. There are so many benefits to that stuff. I don't always put the apple cider vinegar in the hot water because the apple cider vinegar has a lot of like prebiotics and stuff like that as well, and the hot water can kill those off. I will add it a lot of times to my protein shake that I have at night. And I add lemon juice and salt to my protein shake. I make a protein shake every single day, and I have it at nighttime before I go to bed. That's the one that I have before bedtime every single night, what I talked about in the other day video. But lemon juice, salt with minerals in it, and apple cider vinegar are some great things to add to your diet. The lemon juice especially is great for your liver, and we need that salt too to get those essential minerals as well. And we need salt. We have to have some salt in our body. It's the only way that water can pass through the cells, and there's a whole bunch of science behind it, but we have to make sure that we're getting some salt, and making sure our potassium levels and all that stuff are up too. But guys, I've got to stop talking. I'm so far ahead now. I've just rambled. But another thing I missed too, I don't think I talked about this, is check out my video. If you have ascites, check out my video that I did on how to lay in bed with ascites. I did a whole video on how to set up your bed when you have ascites. If you're dealing with ascites, please go watch that video. I think I talked about like how to sit on a couch with ascites, how to lay in bed with ascites, because that was one of the hardest things I had to deal with, was getting comfortable when I had ascites. Please go watch that video if you're dealing with ascites, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. It took me forever to figure it out. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for today. I love y'all so much. My recorder's about to die here, so I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live. Y'all have a great day.